Hi folks, how are you all today? I'm back with another new video where we'll be again discussing about the design components in this video. So thank you so much for your support guys. I'm looking forward to see more and more support coming from you people, right? So yeah, let me just give you a brief on what exactly we did in the previous video, right? And then we'll come back to our new content today. So, in our previous video, we have actually seen what exactly is image and then how to use it, how to design it. And then we have used Canvas. So, Canvas is a component where you can actually animate things on Canvas, you can show. Graphics on canvas and so on like this. It is one of the very useful components for games. And then we have text area. So text area is another component. It's something similar to the text input box where it can actually accept paragraphs of input, right? So multiple lines of input it can accept. So these are the few things we have learned in our previous video. And then definitely we have learned about button, text input, label drop down, radio button, checkbox and all, right? So I will be again briefing it up. So button is a clickable component like we already know. When you click on it, some event or action will take place. And text input is the component which is used when you want to take input from your user, right? And label is something where you're displaying the text on the screen. Drop down is when you want to give options to your user. Radio button is something when you want to give options to your user, definitely. And he has to choose one of it, right? So, and then checkbox, definitely you're giving options to your user again, but he can choose multiple options from these checkboxes, right? And image to display images, to show images on the screen or on the app, you will be using image component. Canvas is like a graphic element which you're adding to your app. And screen is something where you're adding a new screen to your app when you're creating multi-screen applications. Text area is another component where it will take input from your user, a bigger input from your user. So today we will be learning about the last three components, chart, slider, and photo select. So let's get started. So if you've not watched my previous videos, please do go back to my channel Folx Hub and do click on my playlist applab and then start learning from the beginning, right from the part one, so that you are absolutely understanding whatever we are going through and how is the series going so far, right? So yes, coming back to our design component chart. What is a chart? Like, it is again a self-explanatory component where you can add charts or some graphic element you can add into this, right? So the properties of chart are very simple and similar to other few components which we have already used. So ID, I have the ID as chart too because I already have a chart on my other screen. And then we have width, height, then X position, Y position. So these are the few properties which we can change on a chart. And definitely you can hide your chart whenever needed and however necessary. Like how you're using it in your application is very much important while you're doing these things, right? So, yes, I will be telling you about the coding things in my next series, right? So, this is the design series, and this is the last video of the design series where we are learning about the design components. And from the next video, we'll be learning about how to code these elements, right? So, we will be seeing few simple applications where how to use these elements and how to code them, how to make them functional. We will be seeing all of these, right? So this is about the chart component where you can actually add something into this, right? So this is the element where when you execute it, you will not be seeing this. But yes, when you're adding some functionality to it, definitely you should be able to see this, right? And my next other component is slider. Slider is one of the commonly used components in any apps, right? So we will be using such kind of a sliders in many of our applications in mobile phones, right? Like while increasing volume, while you're increasing or decreasing your brightness in your phone, while seeing any media things or video things, you will be seeing these kind of sliders, right? So slider is a like draggable component basically. So when you drag it, the value of the slider changes accordingly. Some event occurs, right? So if you are changing the value of the slider, then maybe volume increases or decreases. Like if I have to do, so if I'm decreasing my volume, so it will decrease, right? So based on the value, it decreases or increases, correct? So and then we can use these kind of sliders in the applications where you want to add some functionality by the slider value change. Okay, we will be using sliders in our next few applications which we will be creating. So I will be letting you know how to code the slider in our next videos. Okay, so this is a very simple component, and the styling of this is also very simple. We have width, height, positions, then we can change the values. So value this 50 is the default value over here. You can change this. So the default value, like you can see the blue colored component is actually covering 50% of your slider, right? This is because the minimum value is 0 and the maximum value here is 100. And the value I gave, the default value I gave is 50. So it is only covering up 50% of the slider. Okay. So now if I'm decreasing this to 30, so definitely it should decrease to 30% of the original size of the slider. Okay. So this is the default value which is given to the slider, and it will be like here whenever you're actually starting to execute your application or run your application, then it will stay over here. So once you're changing it, automatically the value changes and accordingly the action happens. Okay. And minimum value need not be 0 always. You can start off with 30, you can start off with 40, 50 according to the need, right? And maximum value, definitely it need not be 100. It can be anything like 300, 200, whatever you want, right? So according to the need. And step size definitely need not be 1 always, right? So you can actually increment your value by 5 each time, by 10 each time. Okay, so if I write 10, that means the minimum value will start at 30 and the step size will be 10. That means first value is 30. When you're moving your slider, then 40, 50, 60, and so on. It increments gradually by 10, right? So if you're writing 5, that means you're incrementing. The intervals are 5, right? So 30, then 35, 40, 45, and so on. Okay. So this is about the slider component, and definitely you can hide your slider too. Okay, so we have understood what exactly is a chart and how exactly we can use a slider, right? And this is one more component which we have, and a very interesting component of our Code Studio, which is photoselect. Photoselect is a component where you can actually select some photo from your or image from your computer, right? So I will be showing you the functionality of this today, right? It is one of the very interesting components of Code Studio. So yes, width, height, X position, Y position, these are the basic properties which any other component has, right? Same way, background color, icon color, these are just to style your button, right? So photo select is another kind of a button only, right? But the functionality is actually added in your photo select component, right? You need not specially code for selecting a photograph, okay? So the functionality is already added into this. And then icon size, you can increase the icon size, decrease it, you can change the color of it. And border properties, definitely we can give borders also for our buttons, right? So this is absolutely another special kind of a button. But using this button, you can choose a photograph from your computer. Okay, so let's run this app and understand how exactly this is working. Okay, so I will be coming back to my code so that I can execute it for you. So I'm setting my screen to screen 5 so that it executes from screen 5. And then I'm setting the property of my chart to I'm changing the text. You can actually change text with height, X and Y positions, and you can actually hide your chart also. Okay. So, and then I'm just changing the text as hi, folks. Yeah, of course. I want to refer to my people, my folks, right? Okay. So let's run this. I'm just clicking on run. Yes, like you can see on the chart, hi folks is visible, right? It is getting displayed. And then we have a slider component. You can increase, decrease, whatever you want. You can actually drag this. But now nothing is happening just because I've not coded, right? So once I'm giving some functionality to this, automatically the change will be appearing on the screen. Okay. We'll see. We'll make them all functional in our next classes. Okay. And then we have a photo select button, correct? Let's click on this one. Yes. I hope you're able to see this. Like it is asking me to select the photograph, right? So if I click on that and click on open, it will be usually selecting that and keeping it at somewhere, right? When you want to use it, you can actually use it. Okay. So yes, this is all about our three new components in design in Code Studio. Sorry, right? So we have chart, slider, and photo select. All these three components are my favorite components where we can use them absolutely anywhere in our applications, right? Very useful components too, and mostly used components, correct? Right. So we have successfully completed our design classes of Code Studio where we understood all the design components which are present in the design toolbox in Code Studio, right? So these are very few components to create any app. But yes, in Code Studio, only these components are available to create any application, right? In my next series, we will be seeing Thunkable apps and MIT App Inventor apps and all, right? So you will be understanding more. But this is like we are starting with basics. So definitely we should understand what basic components are and how to create applications. So that's why we are using Code Studio for it. For starting off and for beginners, it is very important to see and understand what how basically it is done, right? So that's why we are starting with Code Studio. And yes, so all these components, I hope you understood all of these. If you have any questions, any doubts, you can actually comment and ask me, right? I'm always ready to help you all guys out there, right? So please do comment, like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Folks Hub. Any doubts, any queries, I'm always here to help you out, right? So, yes, let's meet in the next brand new video with coding classes. Okay, bye bye, guys, and have a great day.